Well, you know, we've been working on that V-bottom skiff, and we've got quite a bit of work done to it. We're going to roll it over and keep going, and we're starting ORCA, actually. We're going to bring some lumber home for it, for the centerline, keel, and different things. But this is just something I wanted to show you before it goes out the door. This is a 18-foot work skiff that I finished, and you know, it's not something we've shown you before because we've already done a skiff, but this is one beautiful skiff, man. Nice. The other one was 15.6, and this one's 17.6. So it's 2 feet longer. Other than that, it's got the same dimensions, the same beam, the same width of the transom, and all those kinds of things. So, you know, it's kind of funny. You can make them any length you want and pretty much have the same bow end, you know. I did all the prep work, really. But when Kenneth came in, he went around and inspected it because he wanted it to be as nice as I wanted it to be. So we got together on it, really. Kenneth's my great buddy. He's much better at varnishing than I am. He's a varnisher. I'm just a carpenter. So I know a little bit about it, and I've done some of it. But when I want something done like this, serious, without runs and all these kinds of different problems you can have, I get Kenneth to do it. We put 2 coats of sealer, and then we put 3 coats of lust, and we knocked it back every coat. So we let it dry in between coats, and we did a really nice job sanding it. This isn't the way most skiffs that I've worked on or built went out the door, but we want it to look really nice and bright. You know, most all the skiffs I ever worked on, really, except the last one and this one, were painted out. They had straight grain in the knees, and it was just a commercial fishing boat. Nobody really bought them for pleasure. They just wanted to fish, and they used the boats pretty hard. They beat up the gunnels and, you know, lobster, and they drag pots across the gunnels and everything like that. They dredged for lobsters, tonging, you know, beaching the boat and going hand raking, all of that kind of stuff. I mean, sport fishing, dragging. We used to drag with skiffs, actually, like a 30-foot sweep, and it was a lot of fun. You know, we just hauled the doors on board, beat up the skiff a little bit more, and keep on going. I think a finish like this is probably one of the easiest things that you can maintain, because if water gets under it, it kind of shows real quickly because it makes it black or gray or something like that. So you keep the finish on it. You don't strip the finish off, because that's a ton of work. What you do is you knock it back with like 320 paper and put another coat on it. Maybe a couple coats during the year, because that'll really keep it going. And the varnishes today are UV protection, so that's what you want to do, is keep building that UV protection. It doesn't matter how thick it gets, really. The thicker the better. And now I'm going to paint the top sides. So this is all just primer on here now, and I've sanded it really nicely, and you know, I've gone over it. I'll show you a few things about that, but look at some of the features on this thing. Look at the breast hook we put in this boat. I mean, it's just plain beautiful, it is. It's got all this figuring in it. It's like 2.5 inches thick, white oak. It's right from the center of the crotch, so it's got all this figuring in it like this. You got medullary rays, compression, and all kinds of different things. I don't even know what you would call this darker stuff in here, but this was the trunk of the tree, and this was a branch, because if I tried to use a forked oak tree with 2 kind of branches, it would have like a big imperfection right down the middle. You have to use a trunk and a branch, and these, like I said, were 60 degrees. The thing was huge. You know, I had to chop it out with a chainsaw, and I think this one we put in a band mill. So we cut it in half, and basically, I'm going to use the other half of it, which is cut right down the middle like this, so it looks like this one in reverse, and I'm going to put that one in the V-bottom skiff that we're working on. But this boat's got some really nice features. We put the guards on this boat, the rub rails you might call them, or the rails, before we put this breast hook in there. And you know, we've got the planking and the guards outside of the breast hook, and it's fastened, the breast hook is fastened right through the guards with some big long screws and right into the breast hook. So that's pretty much the easiest way to get it in there. I wouldn't want to put it in before the guards are on, because the heads of the screws would be on softwood rather than on the hardwood of the guard. So, you know, it looks pretty nice like that, and I've always done it this way, really. You know, a lot of boats that I built had just straight grain in the breast hook, but we're getting pretty fancy these days. Now we're back aft, and I gotta show you these quarter knees. These things are absolutely gorgeous. This one and the one on the other side, and the port side, are book matched. So this one appears to be just like the other one, and it's absolutely beautiful. It's got compression squiggles in your annual rings. It's got medullary rays. It's just beautiful. This was the trunk of a tree, and the branch that was sticking off the tree maybe 9 or maybe 100 degrees. So I'm using it from the branch to the bottom side of the well, from the trunk to the bottom side of the branch. Up forward, that's two on the same side. So the trunk and the branch are 60 degrees apart. You're using it on top. This one came from the bottom. So, like I say, they're book matched, and we'll show you the other one, but man, they are just absolutely gorgeous. It's really fun to get these out of the woods, you know, or at the mill and have to do what you have to do to them. You know, I cut them out pretty crudely with a chainsaw. You know, a couple of them, I think the breast hook we put in a band mill, but, you know, we just, I was in a hurry to get these, so I cut them out myself. But, you know, we love them, and it makes the boat really kind of classy, all of the bright work. I mean, you never saw work skiffs with bright work like this, but, you know, these things aren't used as a work skiff. They're used as a little yacht, you know, so, you know, you want to make them look really nice. I mean, these boats are great. They don't pound as bad as people say they do, really. And if you have plenty of power on them, you can pick through the waves, and you know they really handle really nicely. Look at these quarter knees I put in here. These things are absolutely gorgeous. They're made from a white oak tree trunk and a branch, the bottom side of the branch. That's why they have these squiggly annual rings in there, because it was under compression on the bottom side of the branch. So, you know, it makes it really look nice. And it's cut right down the middle. It's quarter sawn. You can see the medullary rays right on the surface. You can see medullary rays in the railing over here as well. You know, they're pretty beefy. And if you had put straight grain in here, you probably would have gotten to here or so, something like that. And this just makes it much longer, much stronger, and much more beautiful. Check out the annual rings under here. Now, this is the bottom side of the branch, so this is all under compression, and you can see it right there in the annual rings, how it zigzags around like that. If it wasn't under compression, they'd be more or less like these back here, nice and straight like that. But this whole section right here is under compression. Look at the medullary rays in this up here. It's just absolutely gorgeous. You can see how broad they look, but they're very, very thin. It's just that they're laying down almost on the surface, just coming up on a little kind of an angle. So that's the way they appear like that. And over here, we've got medullary rays in the guard showing right here. This is the kind of wood that all the fine furniture makers want to find, because it's got this figure in it. Not only does it have the annual rings, but it has these things 90 degrees to the annual rings. And, you know, it's the finest of all furniture wood, really, white oak. And, you know, we're really happy to be able to attain these things, because they make a big difference in what this boat looks like. It's really classy with these in there. And look at the space in it. Wow. You know, it's just got massive amount of space. You can have 4 or 5 people in here. They wouldn't even get in each other's way. Now I'm ready for the first coat of topside paint, and I'm wiping it down with a nice dry rag. It really takes the dust right off of it, and the reason why we have to do that, because if you don't get the dust off, it'll show in the finished paint. We want it dust-free before we start painting, and that's why we set these tents up, because we can vacuum the floor. That's our little painting environment there. We're going to use TotalBoat Wet Edge Topside paint. It's a polyurethane paint. We're mixing the paint up right now, or checking it to see if there's any sediment. It really doesn't have any sediment at all, so it doesn't take any time at all to mix it up. Then we're going to pull the stick out. We're going to take it over to the boat and dump some in a little roller pan and get rolling. And I'm rolling right up to my tape. I don't think I can get it right in that corner, so I'm going to pick up a brush and tip that corner, or spread some paint in the corner. It's taped off really nice and straight, and it's going to look really nice. So I can't get at that with the roller. I just can't get at it. So I'll get that later with a brush. Now, rolling the paint out isn't anything really special either. You get a nice coat on there. You try to get it on a little bit wet, and then you want to roll it out again just over what you did. Try to spread it out a little bit more and make sure you don't get edges on your roller. So I kind of roll it out, and then I roll it out again dry. And then what we do is take a brush and tip it. See what happens with this. every painting situation is a little different. Sometimes it's real hot out and it makes the paint go off quickly, so you kind of have to feel it out as you go, because you don't know exactly how it's going to cover, if it's going to run, how you're going to pick it up if it's a little thick and move it down, how to tip it. I like to roll out maybe 30 inches, you know, so I go up and down the boat in a 30-inch stripe, and then I tip it from there, and then I roll out another 30 inches and just work my way right around the boat like that. Now, I don't paint all the way down to the bottom of the side because I don't want it to be totally watertight down there. I'd like it to be able to soak up some water. And that's what I'm doing. I'm just keeping the paint a little bit away from there. Water goes right through bottom paint and primer, but it doesn't go through polyurethane paint. Now you want to stretch the paint out a little bit. That's why I'm rolling it out on the dry out here. I can see how much is left on the roller, you know, and you can actually pick some of it up with the roller because you don't want it to be too heavy. It'll run, and the last thing you have to concern yourself with is how well it's covering, because that'll mess you up if you try to put a big heavy coat on there. That just won't work. So basically what you do is put 2 thinner coats on, and it's much easier, doesn't take more paint or anything like that, and does a better job. So that's what you do with polyurethane paint. You plan on putting 2 coats on it. Now I'm just going over it if I see any thick spots a little bit with the roller. We're pretty careful about the way we go about it, and you do have to keep moving. You can't just play around. You have to keep moving because the paint's drying right behind you. So when you're tipping, you know, you could be tipping into dry paint. You can't do that. You have to tip into wet paint. So, you know, that's their object, is to keep moving. I just want you to know how much I enjoy this, finishing this boat up. And I'm actually going to take it for a ride with the owner. So that's going to be a good time. I can tell you that for sure. And this boat's a little bit bigger than the last one we built, but it's still going to have a tiller. So, you know, I think a tiller is the way to go. It's like more fun to drive the boat with a tiller. It reacts faster. You can feel the helm a little bit. And when you're in a following sea or something like that, you can pick your way through a following sea, you know, or a head sea. And the tiller makes it really easy. So I've recommended that you use a tiller. These boats are perfect just the way they are. All right, there you go. Well, here it is. Here's another beautiful skiff going out the door. I just love these things. They're really useful. I mean, you can use them for all kinds of recreational stuff and commercial fishing. We used to make them a little bit more commercial looking than this. You know, they might have a flatter paint job, and this was painted and different things like that, because no fisherman's going to want to keep up a bright finish like this. This is kind of a yacht, like we've said before, than a commercial fishing boat. I doubt there'll be any commercial fishing going on in this unless you've got a trap or 2 or something like that. But all the types of fishing that you want to do, you can go plug-in, surface casting, bottom fishing, you know, just every kind of fishing this boat is good at. And it's got a lot of nice space in it. You know, this one's 18 feet. The last one we built was 16 feet. So, you know, we had longer lumber. It kind of matters what you've got for lumber, because the longest piece in the boat is this piece right here. You know, that's the guard. And it is 18 feet. The skiffs are measured around the outside of the boat rather than straight, because you want to know how long this lumber has to be in order to build it properly. So that's the first thing you do, is go buy this stuff, figure out how much you can make it, and then maybe make as big a skiff out of it as you can. You know, so, you know, it's going, we've had it outside, and we put the water line outside the way I always do it, with the 2 sticks and the string and everything. It came out beautiful. You know, there's different things you've got to do. We put a box inside, you know, for your life preservers and, you know, all those kinds of things. Your anchor possibly, or you could mount the anchor on the side of the boat, like on the frames. You know, I don't know what kind of anchor he's going to get, so I can't make any mounts until that happens. But everything here you can put in a box right here, so it's just not all over the boat. So, you know, it's really come along a long way. I'm going to go around the other side here, because There's some things I want to show you over here. One of them are the seats that I put in. The owner asked me to put seats in it somehow. I'm like, gee, if I build seats, it's going to take up all the space and everything. I've never made a set of seats like this before, but I kind of had this idea and I mentioned it to the owner, and he just had to have them. And I'm glad, because I think that a lot of people are going to like them a lot, and I would imagine that a lot of people would make them in their skiffs themselves and stuff like that. So I want to show you how easily they fold. You pick up the seat, you fold this brace in, and you put the seat right back down like that. Seat is gone. So, you know, they all do that. Even the driver's seats you can do that with, and it just creates more space in the boat. You can sit on the gunnel, you can fold that down, sit on the gunnel when you're fishing, or put it up or whatever, and it goes so easily. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Now, we've got a double seat back aft, and I'm going to show you that. It works the same exact way, but it's twice as long as that seat. So we're going to pick up the seat, fold the brace in, drop the seat. Pretty much exactly the same thing, it's just a little bit longer. Well, this is a mighty nice skiff right here. I've got a soft spot in my heart for boats like this because I spent a lot of time on them. My father was a commercial fisherman, and you know, he made his living off boats like this, and no fooling around. This was what you had to have, a skiff like this. You couldn't do that type of fishing off any other boat. So, like I said, I built maybe 20 of them. My father had maybe 20 of them, and I just think they're terrific. I can't wait to put it in the water and find out what the reaction's going to be. We're going to put 70 horsepower on it. It's going to leap out of the water. We're finishing our V-Bottom skiff in the other room. That's not going to take us too long, and then we'll be on to ORCA. Now, we have lumber for ORCA already. We've got the keel, we've got a number of other timbers, and we're going to start building it, actually. We've already started collecting material for it, and we're actually going to start building it. We've got to put a loft floor and loft it, but you know, all those things are fun too. So stick with us, because we're going to stay busy.